Our next question today comes from the chat. And in the chat, this is from Daphne. Daphne L writes, is there a difference between someone as one word or someone as two words? Well, this is a wonderful question, Daphne. And an answer to it will get to illustrate something about the history of words and spellings in English. In current English, there is only one correct spelling, and that is someone as one word. However, in the past, it was sometimes spelled some space one. And this, in fact, illustrates a tendency of words in English. And this tendency is that words that start out as two separate words, when they are used together enough, they start to move a little closer to each other. Sometimes they move closer and then a hyphen is put between them. And sometimes that hyphen disappears and the word just joins together all at once. Let me give you a couple examples. I'll pull up my screen here. Here is an example. Suppose we have a bookshop, a shop that sells books. So bookshop was originally written as two separate words, bookshop. But as bookshops became a common phrase, a common noun, a common place that people would talk about, book and shop became closer together. So we get the single word, bookshop. In this case, we don't, there may be cases in which there was a hyphen in between the book and the shop, but in this case, the larger general trend seems to be between those two words coming together. Now, by contrast, someone began as someone. However, over time, it became simply someone as a single word. And although the word bookshop, you can write it as two words or you can write it as one word, and everybody will understand what you mean. In current English, only the word someone is the word that we will find in a dictionary. And it is so if you're writing in a more formal context, you should choose the word someone. However, there is one more example I thought to share, which I think is particularly interesting, which is the example of some day versus someday. Here too we have a similar looking progression from someday as two words and someday as one word. But in this case, both of these spellings, the spelling of a word and the spelling of a phrase, both of them are used in contemporary English because they have slightly different meanings. And I think it's because of examples like this that you were very perceptive in asking about the question someone and someone. Because in the case of someday and someday, when we have one word, someday, we tend to be thinking about some unspecified time in the future. Oh, I'll get to that task someday. Oh, I hope we'll see each other again someday. However, when we separate those words, we mean something different. We mean something like, suppose we're going to have a meeting next week. We might say, let's set up a time. Let's find some day next week. There, we're not speaking of a general sense of a vague sense in the future. We're speaking instead of, we want to choose one day next week. We want to choose some day next week for our meeting. And while we're at it, there's one more example I wanted to show you of how this process happens in English. We had we used to have a phrase that almost nobody uses anymore, electronic mail, which refers to what we now call email. And that became shortened to email with a E and a hyphen and a mail. So here we see the second stage in this process, going from two words to, in fact, not just a word, but to a sound and a hyphen and a word, and then this becomes even shortened in a very short period of time, so that now we also have the current standard word, email. So thank you again for this wonderful question, Daphne, because it gives us a chance to explore a larger trend or a larger pattern that we notice in English over time. So I hope that you can see how your very question has helped to open up, helped to be a tool for exploration of English and its history. So I hope that has answered your question, Daphne. You're welcome to unmute if you want to respond out loud, I just noticed you've already responded in the chat. Thank you, Daphne. And Daphne also is giving me appreciation for this answer. I appreciate your appreciation very much, Daphne. There's one last thing that occurred to me to say. One could ask the question with someone and someone with a space between them. Couldn't you use them in the same way that you have someday and someday? And a quick answer is in fact no, because if I want to see someone, we know it's a vague entity. It's someone. We don't know who it is. I need to see someone about my tires, for instance. We understand you need to see some mechanic or somebody like that to fix a problem with a car, for instance. In that case, someone is just serving as the sort of indefinite pronoun that it is. But we can't really pull it apart and say, I'd want to see some one thing, because unlike someday, day is a specific noun, but someone, one is also an indefinite pronoun. And that may be one of the clues as to why someone became a single word, because some and one apart are indefinite pronouns. They come together as an indefinite pronoun and they form a single compound indefinite pronoun. So I hope that all of that is useful. Thank you again, Daphne, for your question. And feel free to ask further questions now or in the future when they arise.